Let me share with you the 17 essential components of a webinar. Now, although a webinar looks like a very easy thing to deliver, one of the critical things you need to understand is that it does have a structure. It does have a framework. And what I want to do is give you an overview summary. There's a lot more detail to this to come, but an overview summary of what a webinar structure looks like by highlighting 17 essential components of a webinar. Now, it's not enough just to take this and deliver your webinar on that, because as you'll see if you follow my course all the way through, there's a lot more complexity, subtlety, nuance to putting together an effective webinar. But to start with, I want to get this framework fixed in your mind. So let me show you, first of all, there are the 6 key components. There's the welcome, the hook, the introduction, the core content, the pitch, and the Q&A. And you could say there's a pre-webinar element as well, but I don't want to confuse you with that at this point. I just want to focus on the key components of a webinar. So let's take a look now and see what's in the welcome. You do have the pre-start element, so we've sort of captured that. And then you have to have the title, which is really, really critical. And then you need to have a clear agenda. You need to set an expectation of what the webinar is going to contain and how long it's going to go on for. Then you need the hook. And the hook is basically the big promise, what the attendee of the webinar is going to get out of the webinar, the key benefit, the life-changing breakthrough they're going to get if they stick with you all the way through. And this can take you about 5 minutes to communicate, even though there's only one symbol on it on this diagram. Then you have the introduction, and this is 7 to 10 minutes, but this is all about introducing you. And I'm not talking about just saying, hello, my name is so-and-so. It's actually establishing in the minds of your audience that you are the authority, the credible person to take them on this journey, on this breakthrough, to give them this fantastic information which you're about to deliver them, which is the core promise of the webinar. But you need to be absolutely credible. And it's really important to do this, because unless you establish that authority and that credibility, then you won't be able to sell anything to them later on. Then you have the core content. Now, again, there's only one symbol here, but actually this is potentially half of your webinar. And you may have 8 or 10 steps, and this could go on for 30 to 45 minutes. So the core content, which is really down to you, which is delivering the hook, delivering the big promise of the webinar, is the really core piece of winning your audience over. But you want to leave them wanting more, because then you make your pitch. And again, I've highlighted out core components of the pitch, because unless you handle the pitch in the right systematic way, unless you follow these steps in the right order, one after the other, then your pitch won't be anything like as successful as it can be, and it may fail altogether. So you have to make a transition to the pitch, and then you have to close them on wanting to buy your product or service. And there's a real technique to that, because it's nothing to do with selling. Then you make your offer. Then you make your guarantee, which is the risk reversal. And then you have to inject scarcity, bonuses, and of course you need calls to action to make this all come together. And these are intertwined. It is actually quite a complex process. For instance, you may have 3 calls to action. You may have 2 referrals to the guarantee. But these are the key components. And then finally, of course, you have the Q&A. And the way you handle the Q&A can also make a big impact on how many sales you make when you are actually doing the webinar live. So those are the 17 essential components to a live webinar. And I hope you've now got that framework fixed in your mind, and now you understand why a webinar is not just a ramshackle 30-minute or 60-minute or 90-minute waffle through a live thing with a pitch at the end. It's got a very, very strategic, systematic, formulaic system to making it effective. And that is what I want to share with you in this course.